Okay, all right, fine. So first things first. First things first. Let us go ahead and let us try to get connected to. I am already connected to the console. Very good. All right. So a couple of small services we need to kind of know. They are kind of, as I told you yesterday, is the buttering on top of the cake. Okay. Let us try to learn them one by one. Let's start with something called the cloud formation.
Well,
Look at this. I'm just running Google Chrome on this machine, literally nothing else. It is eating 2.5 GB of RAM. I've opened it up just to see this thing. I was trying to deploy a microservice project today. It literally took me 45 minutes to deploy one single project. It had like 5, 6 different parts of it. This computer is not good enough. This is running 4 GB of RAM. First of all, if you want to use a laptop for doing IT job, you need to at least have 8 GB of RAM. 16 GB is
definitely,
best.
sir. 16 GB I have.
And 16 GB is the best one. I have an MSI laptop of 16 GB that is fantastic. Not this one. The quad-core CPU, i3 processor is not a good idea. You need to have at least i5. Better if you can have i7.
So
No,
can
we'll
we
see.
increase the RAM
I
on
have
existing
i7.
laptop?
Laptop and RAM and CPU, both of the things. You need to have a good RAM and a CPU. Then again, in order to
Can
support
you
that RAM and a CPU,
can
you need to have
you
a good
can we
motherboard.
update? Is it
CPU you
possible
cannot
to
update.
update it on the current?
RAM
Color
is
scaling.
possible. CPU is not possible. How would you update a CPU? Then you can CPU is if it is a laptop, right? It will be kind of soldered into the motherboard. It's not possible really to change it. You know, I will suggest you one thing. Like all of you, in case you're planning to purchase any laptop, please go with a Mac. Don't go with a Windows. That is the best thing that you can go with. I mean, since I have been using my Mac, I have purchased a MacBook Air M1. The M1 chipset came right back in 2020 last year. It's fluid like anything. My 16 GB MSI is not as fast as a 8 GB Mac. If possible, invest on a Mac. Never invest on Windows machines anymore.
Thing
Okay,
also.
anyways, coming back to the discussion. Even a MacBook Air is fine. You don't need to get a MacBook Pro. Okay,
Yeah, but that will also
what
cost
happens over
almost 50
here?
more than 60, right?
MacBook Air 1 lakh,
Yeah.
almost 90,
That's
95
why
in
I'm
December.
working with my office laptop because this is almost 2.5 lakhs rupees. So this is working fine.
Mhm. No, the thing is that if you can invest, let's say 1 lakh on a laptop, on if it is a Mac, then the next 4, 5 years you are like completely it's gonna work out just like a new one. Whereas a Windows machine, maximum 1 year, it will work like a new one. Then it will start slowing down. Right. Okay. So what's cloud formation? Let's try to understand. When we are trying to work with, mm, let's say, for example, you need to build up an infrastructure and you do not want to keep on creating the infrastructure again and again. Like let us say, for example, you are running a couple of servers, some S3 buckets, this and that. Someone might ask you to replicate that infra somewhere else. There are many reasons why you might need to do that. Like I will talk about a company. There's a Chennai-based company. They actually are basically OTT platforms, right? Like where you
Yes.
can watch videos, no? So they basically are the ones they make OTT platforms. This majority of the Indian OTT that you find, not like Amazon Prime, but the little bit lower cost ones, like let us say Alt Balaji and stuffs like that. The typical OTTs that you find out, majority of them, they are the main providers behind it. So I was talking to them because a friend of mine wanted to make an OTT platform of him. So he basically is working with some motion picture company. I forgot the name. He's the Eastern Zonal head or something. So they wanted to get this thing, of their system. They wanted to get an OTT platform. So that is when I had a discussion with them. So I was just asking them that how do you want to do this thing? Like setting up an OTT platform, the infra is pretty like a lot of things are there. Someone is making a lot of noise. Please stop the noise. Okay. So it's a huge thing. So I just asked them that how do you handle this stuff? So they're like we have a like complete this IWC tool built up over there. IWC stands for infrastructure as a code. IAAC, infrastructure as a code. So they have got a lot of IWC built up over there. And then what they do, they literally, whenever they need to do it for somebody, it is like a default, you can say, setups will be done over there, and they have created an infrastructure with all the default setups that they need. Like they need a couple of servers, they need this, they need that, and all those things. And then they have made an IWC out of it. So that one they just run into a new cloud platform and AWS. They'll run it over there, and it will immediately build up all the infra for them. That is done using CloudFormation. So let us see how this works. Go to create stack. Here you are supposed to upload your template if you have one. Do not have one, then you can use the sample template. So when you start with a sample template, then you modify it later, you save it as a new template. Later, next time onwards, you will just connect it over here. So now the most important this thing, the stack that is set up for setting up any sort of, let's say, user driven or user model driven kind of infra is basically a LAMP stack. This is for the servers. So you can see there is already LAMP stack built up over here. There is a LAMP stack built up over here which is connecting with the RDS database instance, okay, for data store, and this is running on the local MySQL database. Here it is picking up from the RDS MySQL database. Here it is picking up a local MySQL database. That means here the server is going to be in my RDS, the database server, just like we did, and the EC2 instance is going to have the client, and here the database itself will be in the EC2 instance. So obviously, if it is a production, you will go with this one. I'm going with this one for now. So what it will do, it will basically create a complete setup for us where it will make an EC2 instance, it will put the Linux over there, take an Apache HTTPD, put the MySQL, PHP installation, everything from the scratch, just in one single click. Go to next, give it a name. Now there are a couple of parameters that you need to fill up. Let us say, I'm going to call this thing my OTT server or something. Let's just for a name. Look at this database password. What is the database name you need to have? What is the database password you need to have? Let's say. So let's write down, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't even know if that will take. DB password is separate and root password is separate, is it? Okay. Same password in both the places. Database username and writing root, let's say. Instance, I'm, let's say, taking a T2 micro. The key pair that you want to connect. Okay, let us see this one. SSH location is means from which IP address you will be able to do SSH. If you do internet, then internet, you can give your personal IP also. And once it is done, you go to next. And then it is like the tag if you want to add. I don't want to add any tag or anything. If you want to add any IAM role, just like yesterday we saw, you may do it. Okay, there is this one. What if the stack is failure? That means it did not work. So it is telling, do you want to roll back? Means let's say 3, 4, 5, 6 resources you're trying to create. Till the end, it did not go. Do you want to maintain whatever got created? Then you can say preserve, or you can say rollback. That means if it is not completed, whatever it has created earlier, it will delete everything and just come back. Go to next. So this is your my OTT server, you can see. Okay, all the things that you have given over there. Now you can try to create this thing. Just click on create stack. And you can see creation is in progress. This is basically creating a server for you with the entire LAMP installed over there. This is the use of CloudFormation. By the way, these topics are generally very rare chances there that someone will ask you about these topics, because these are typically a part of the professional course. But just understand this so that at least people should feel that you have an idea about it, if you're talking about it. It's going to take some time. Let's see. Done. Okay. So it is creating a security group that has been done. And now it is creating the server. Right there. Okay. Look at this. This is the security group. My OTT server and hyphen web server security group something. A random name has come. And this is the port number 22 that was opened up at port 80. Okay. For the LAMP HTTPD access. All right. So if we hit this, I don't know what is gonna come up as the page. Any default page is gonna come up or how it is like. Let us see that. The PHP deployment, you can see. PHP version and everything is coming up. Okay. So this is basically the benefit of using a. So you can get this preset templates. You can use them. Set up your infra. So here you can create your own stack as well. That will not be a part of our discussion. But you know,
Sir, one question. As because this is giving, I mean, complete setup. Facility. I mean, we can do all the complete setup here from here. Then why we use, I mean, like Terraform and all those things? What is the need of those things? Because the same thing it is happening here also right now. Everything we are doing in with just a single click, right?
Terraform is a cross cloud. It can work on Azure. It can work on Google Cloud, anywhere. This is only for AWS. This is a question that is asked in the interviews. The difference between Terraform and CloudFormation.
No,
We are
because I
ideally
see
supposed
the
to
same type of work it's doing, so that's why I asked this question.
try to, let's say, if you, I'm telling you, this is a valid question. This is typically supposed to be discussed in DevOps classes. So where you shall learn Terraform. But the point is that Terraform can work on any cloud. You can set up Terraform to work on AWS Cloud, Azure Cloud, any cloud you want to. And this one is a built-in service of AWS. That means it is only AWS specific. Right. The thing is the same. Terraform is also an IaaS tool. CloudFormation is also an IaaS tool. Both of them are same things. Okay. If you want to delete that, delete this from here. It will delete all the things that it created one by one. When you shall learn Terraform, you will be then, kind of be able to connect to this idea at a point of time in a much better way. Look at this, delete in progress. Okay, it started.
But
Just
still
wait
few
for a
things
bit.
are showing create in progress.
It is showing the entire log, whatever has happened so far. The latest event is on top, the oldest event. Look at the time. 5 minutes back.
Sir, one more thing here. Here 3 security group it has created, right?
Oh, one.
You can see
Where?
my OTT server. No, there only, there
No,
only.
this is the name.
No, I'm not talking about here. CloudFormation. Yeah, you can see this my OTT server very downside, and then up a web server security group, and these three. I mean, in a row it is showing, right?
My OTT server is the stack name. This one.
Okay.
Within this stack, it has created a security group with the name web server security group, and it is the EC2 instance that it is
Yeah, but
creating.
my question is here 3 you
Mhm.
can see na web server security group 1, 2, 3, total 3 it is showing.
Asking that why 3 times the entry has been made. This
Oh,
is when the
just a
creation.
log. Okay,
This
just
is the log.
process.
When the first time the entry started, when the creation was over, then it gave you a stamp of create complete.
Okay.
That's what it is. Different time stamps. You'll find the same thing in Terraform also. It will give you the logs every 10
Yes.
seconds.
Yes.
Done. So Instance is gone, security group is done. You can see it is the opposite way, right? It created this first, then this, then this. While deletion, the opposite way it is going. Okay, cool. So, what is CloudFormation used for? CloudFormation is used for actually creating a stack. Stack means infrastructure, set of infrastructure, okay? Set of resources for building an infrastructure in a single click. Okay, that is the use case of CloudFormation. CloudFront, an entirely different service. Let's talk about it. It says content delivery network. If you saw, okay, global content delivery network. Any idea what that might mean? Anybody? What is content delivery network? Anyone?
Getting cache or something, so files
Almost,
are delivered.
almost. Not entirely, almost. Correct. A content delivery network is basically having a high bandwidth, you can say, service network, okay, through which generally the kind of things you're trying to deliver. Okay, for this I need to draw a picture. Look at this. Let us say this is, let's say, Mumbai data center. Oh, that's a straight line. It's a Mumbai data center. Okay, this one. This is, let's say, California data center. So there is a Hollywood movie. Okay. This is a movie. Just write on film, easier to write. Now it can be anything. Film is a huge content, so better to give an example with something big. Big things are working, small will obviously work. Someone is uploading this one to California data center based servers, yes or no? That's what is expected. Now, you are, let's say, in Kashmir. Okay. In Kashmir, there is no data center of AWS. Okay. This movie, if Indian people are watching a lot, let's say Kashmir is there, let's say, for example, Punjab is there. Okay. My second hometown. Then let's say Bangalore is there, etc. So this movie will be shared to Mumbai data center. Now, this sharing is a pretty cool one because these are like distinct locations in AWS data center. So this can be almost, accepted like, yeah, that is possible. But now the thing is, if a person is trying to watch it from Kashmir, one from Bangalore, one from Punjab, you are trying to give them from Mumbai, the physical distance is pretty much right. If you check Kashmir and Mumbai, let's say Punjab and Mumbai, this kind of a physical distance when it is there, it is not a good idea to serve it from here. Okay. Have you ever tried to download anything from the internet and seen the option like mirror 1, mirror 2, mirror 3, things like that? Anybody ever seen mirror download links?
Yes, yes.
Seen this? Correct. So what does mirror mean? What happens in a mirror? Cloning happens, right? You stand in front of a mirror, you get to see your clone. I mean yourself, but you can consider that way, it is your clone. So mirror servers are like where the things in the server is exactly cloned, as if you took an AMI and you launched a new one. So it will be literally a copy of it. So that
Like
is
a
the concept
screen
that goes on.
mirroring.
You don't try to compare with screen mirroring. That's a different thing. Okay. So let us say this Mumbai server we have. If we create some mirrors, one let's in Bangalore. Okay. Let me draw it in green color. Let's say. So mirrored in Bangalore. Let's say mirrored in Kashmir. We have a mirrored in, let's say, Punjab. So now if there is a mirror present in Punjab, that means it's basically a clone of, I mean, it has got all the materials that you wanted to share over there. Basically means, let's say in the Mumbai data center, there are 50 movies stored. Okay. Whatever the number of servers are allocated for Amazon Prime, let's say, or Netflix, 50 movies. Maybe Punjabis are trying to watch maybe 10 of them. Kashmiris are trying to watch, let's say, another 10 of them, different 10 of them. Maybe a couple of them are common, whatever. Let's say Kannadigas are trying to watch, let's say, 20 of them, for example. So those 20 movies will be moved to this mirror that these people are watching a lot. Those 10 will be moved over here, those 10 will be moved over here. Moved in the sense copied, not like completely removed from here and pasted over there, not like a cut paste, not like that. Copied over there. The data will be copied over there. And then when Bangalore people or let's say Hyderabad people, etc., trying to watch, because it is much closer to give it from here. Now you might argue that well, Hyderabad is much closer to Mumbai. I mean, I'm not going into that argument. Let's say Tamil Nadu people. Okay, so it's much closer to let's say Bangalore over here. So they will be supplied the movie from here, you know, instead of so far distance. Let's say Kashmir people. Let's say here your Assam is there, Bengal is there. Let's say, etc. They're given from here, or maybe if there is a lot of demand, let's say in let's say in Calcutta there is a lot of demand. There can be another mirror setup over here. Then instead of bringing from Kashmir, then you send to Assam from here, Odisha from here, you know, the entire Bengal from here. So well, it's a Punjab, so let's say Haryana is getting from here, okay, etc. So this kind of mirror servers will be placed. So these ones, the big data centers that are the actual data centers of AWS, they are called origins, because that is where originally the data is present. That is called the origin. Oh my God. Origin. So California is an origin. This is an origin, Mumbai. These ones are known as edge. Edge. We do not use the word mirror in AWS. We call it edge. Edge. So origins and edge servers. That means there must be some sort of a connection between these guys, right? Etc. So this is your the AWS network, what we call like when you do a peering connection something, right? You go through the AWS network. You do not go through internet. So that is what this network is. And this one is a content delivery network or CDN. So CloudFront is the service where you can actually say that you want to forward your, you know, like if you say I'm using CloudWatch, sorry, CloudFront for my, you know, content delivery, that means you are actually paying the money to AWS so that you can use these paths. Otherwise, it will only allow you to use these paths by default. Okay, content delivery network they will not allow you to use by default. This is the concept of CloudFront. Got it. So that means overall you can say what is the benefit, like in a nutshell, the speed of operation will be much high. Like you needed to have a data, someone is giving you the data from the next building of yours, and someone is giving you the data from the let's say the next city of yours. So obviously this is going to be much faster. That's the main idea. Do you remember like watching YouTube back in 2012, 13, some point of time, 14? There will be like the buffering, right? That kept on going now, that white thing. And then the red one is like what you are watching right now. You remember? We sometimes will pause the video so the buffering will be completed and again we shall run it.
Yes.
Otherwise it will keep
Yeah, yes.
stuck. So that is because that time CDN was not so a popular term, but nowadays it doesn't happen. Even if you have like unless you are running a BSNL internet, you will get a proper buffering. I mean, at least in 480p, 360p, it will work. It will not get stuck. And also, these concepts of 480p, 360p, 240p, these are also a thing that has come due to this content delivery network only. I mean, think about it. You are uploading a video on YouTube. Just try uploading a video on YouTube. Like you must have a Google account, so you can upload a video on YouTube. Just screen record yourself for 2 minutes and upload it. Make it private. You don't need to publicly publish it. Then go to the YouTube page and then just search your content. If you cannot find in search, just copy and paste the link. You will see it is immediately broken into like 240p, 360p, and all those different things. It is not like someone is uploading a content to YouTube. They are actually creating so many different versions of it. You just upload it, it'll work. Like if you have noticed, like in Amazon Prime videos, the video playing never stops. If the internet is bad, it will just worsen the quality, but the playing will not stop unless the internet is completely gone or something. Typically, the playing will keep on going, okay, within a given threshold. That is because of this content delivery network. Because when content delivery network, you are sending the items through, they are so fast. So what they will do, they will immediately convert it into multiple low resolution, mid resolution, high resolution, and what is that, 4K, etc. They'll kind of immediately break it down into those many things. And depending on what is your current bandwidth your network can support, it is gonna decrease the bit rate. Bit rate means the number of bits it is sending per second, some kbps, mbps, etc. It will decrease the bit rate. The moment it decreases the bit rate, the quality will become bad. That's it. So that is also possible due to this thing. There is another service that you have to use in conjunction with CloudFront to get it done. That is a service that Netflix and all of the people are using. That is called Elastic Transcoder. I mean, this is very much specific to see this one. Scalable media transcoding. This is very much specific to media only. Okay. Also in songs it happens. You will see, like if you're listening to a song on Ghana.com, just try to listen through your earpiece, through your earpiece in the sense earphones, and just connect to a poor network. I mean, I don't know how you can find a poor network, but if you can, let's say you're traveling in bus or something, so somewhere the network is very low, you will see the song quality will become bad. Again, it will come back to good after some time. So that happens through this thing, Elastic Transcoder. Now, Elastic Transcoder, however, even though it is very much specific to media transcoding, but you can actually use CloudFront for normal data also, like normal data in the sense like a website. If you have a website, you find out some website is highly. Have you noticed this thing? You might have. Like when the internet is pretty bad, no website is loading, Google will still load. Have you seen? Google will always load. I mean, if Google is also not loading, that means it has to be like really a horrendous situation. Then only Google will not load. Otherwise, Google will always load. Other websites will never. That happens. I mean, I'm talking about like a couple of years back, it was only Google. Nowadays, some other websites are also there in the list that they will definitely load, no matter how worse your internet is. As long as you have a connection, that will load up. So that happens in conjunction with content delivery. Just like I told you that in conjunction with content delivery network, that is CloudFront and Elastic Transcoder, you can get those different versions of your media. Similarly, in conjunction with CloudFront and cache service, what Priyanka was mentioning as cache sometimes back, that thing, CACHE. So cache service that you have, using that, you can actually set up those things. Because Google, obviously, they had been using their own content delivery network for I don't know, like the last 10 years probably, or something, 5-6 years. So that is why Google will always load no matter what is happening. But nowadays, other companies also coming up and they're using this kind of cache services and CloudFront. So if someone just uses a CDN, that will automatically make their website much faster. If you add a caching service along with it, like you got Elastic Cache and stuffs like over here, these are all pretty advanced stuffs. Okay, just know about them. Elastic Cache, this one, like you can set up a memcached or a Redis cache. This is called memcached, not cached. Memcached, Redis cache or something. And then if you use that one along with this, then you will end up getting that service where your website is loading just like that. Just click on it, loads up immediately, super fast. That happens due to this.
So
I mean,
memcached is something like memory cache, something like
correct. In memory cache. Memory does not mean your server's RAM, by the way, over here. But yeah. So this is right. There are more and more things you can keep on adding to make it faster. Like let us say, one factor is this your cache service. The first factor is, let's say, your CDN service. Second factor is your caching service. The third factor will be your proxy server Nginx if you add. So Nginx will automatically speed up the process. The next one you can use is basically what is that called? Pre-rendering services you can use. There are some websites that provide you pre-rendering services. If you just host your application through them, like kind of, that is also kind of proxy setup only. So pre-render is another thing that you can add. Now these are things all will add up together, and that makes your website, everything will add up like a 2% speed, one over the other. Altogether it will become like, you'll find 15-20% fast website at the end. Then you have ultimately, then you make a single paged application. That means you use React or Angular, this kind of technologies, preferably React, not Angular. So this kind of technologies you add over there. So all these things will kind of add up together, and you will be able to take a decision. I mean, it is not always the infrastructure fault. It is not always the development fault. It is not always the technology stack. In fact, it is everything together, that makes the process much faster. So this is a fantastic thing, therefore, CloudFront. Earlier, AWS had a separate way of setting up CloudFront for websites and CloudFront for media, but now I think they have removed it here. It is no longer there. Earlier, when you will come to this page, you will no, it is not there. Yeah. Earlier, when you will come to this page, the first option was there, that whether you want to go with a media-based CloudFront, means they will have different setups for it, or do you want to go for a web site kind of a thing that you want to display through CloudFront. But now it is like the same thing. Whether you want to do this or do that, it's going to work the same way. Okay, so there is your origin. You can see. Okay, and I'm not explaining these things to you. A lot of things are there. Like these are HTTP methods actually. Get, head, options, put, post, patch, delete, etc. These are called HTTP methods. So depending on what depending on what kind of HTTP methods you want to allow, you need to kind of open them up, etc. To test these HTTP methods, you have got a tool called Postman, which I have over here. This one you can use for testing these HTTP methods. I'll show you how it looks like. If at all it can start with my limited resource of memory. I have almost utilized 82% of my RAM, and I think it is hanging. So this is the tool that we use for doing these things. In this machine, I literally downloaded it today just to check us. What is this? Just to check a simple API on a local host Spring Boot application. Oh, that is not even stored over there. That is because I did not sign up. So I was checking. So here you can change those. So get, post, poach, patch, delete, head. Right. So this tool is used in conjunction to AWS or any service for the matter of fact to test out. Oh my God. Test out these activities. Okay. Whether they're working or not working. And then we go ahead and we basically work with this one. Redirect HTTP to HTTPS. I can show you this thing. Just try to go to, let's say this is HTTP, right? Let us just open up the network tab. Okay, you'll be able to see. So I'm just trying to go to, let's say, HTTP www, or let's say techstories.com something. Have a look at this. And do that. So you can see the lock symbol. So it has loaded up HTTPS. Okay. So if you come up over here, you'll be able to see that this is the network analysis in Google Chrome that is present. You'll be able to see that there has been a redirection. This was HTTP, which has, we did a get method, right? The get you saw over here. This one, this has been hit over there from this application. This is a single page application. And then that returned as a 301 response over here. So that went to HTTPS. See, there was a conversion from HTTP to HTTPS, which again give us a 301 response, which was further converted to HTTPS www.
What is the meaning of
Yes.
301?
301 is just an HTTP status code. There are a lot of status codes, like 404. That is probably the most popular one. That means page not found.
Forbidden something, I think.
Forbidden is 503. 503 is forbidden. 403 is also 403 is forbidden. 503 is server issue. 404 is access, resource not found. 200 is success. Here, 200 is success. So you can see this www also has come. AS has also come. That has happened through this series of events. Okay. So that is exactly what was written over here.
How you
Redirect
open this
HTTP.
Windows?
This one, Shift Control I, that will open up the Elements tab. Then I go into Network tab. Okay. So this is what is going on over here. Okay. You can see there is a Nginx proxy working. All the things that I told you, right? There is an Nginx proxy working.
What is your proxy here? Proxy server you are talking about?
Proxy, if I start explaining, that will take us another half an hour minimum. Okay. The main idea is like, let's say ask you, let's say for example, come and ask me that, okay, Vishal, how to do something, some activity. And I give you the response. Okay, you can do this and the activity will be done. Someone else, let's say Arvind comes and asks me, okay, Vishal, how to do something else. I tell him how to do that something else. So for Anuj and for Arvind, Vishal is the person who is accepting the request, that means the question, and giving the response, that is the answer. But Vishal may not have any knowledge at all. Maybe Vishal is going in the back end and asking somebody and then getting the knowledge from there and just telling it. So for Arvind and Anuj, Vishal is the person that can give the answer. However,
Yes.
in reality, the answer is coming from somewhere. So that is called a proxy. That means Vishal is acting like a proxy over here. Got it?
So it is something like NAT responding same way.
No. NAT is about networking. This is more about, let's say, hosting services and something. So you think that the data is coming from somewhere, whereas the data is coming from somewhere else. That means you can basically two things you're doing. You are masking the actual source. That means you're protecting. That is a part of security. At the same point of time, now if you have a, let's say, caching going on the proxy, like let us say you ask me, what is the answer of 2 plus 2? Let us say I do not know. So I have a friend of mine who knows calculation. I ask him, hey, what is the answer of 2 plus 2? He tells me 4. I tell you 4. Next time someone comes and asks me what is 2 plus 2, I remember that already this answer I had, that was 4. I immediately tell him 4. That means now the proxy has got a little bit of caching going on. It can remember items and it can immediately respond from there. Have you seen this thing, like when you try to go to Google or any other website, let's say from your phone, if you have a slow internet, they tell you that it's showing a cached version of the page. Have you seen that message? Refresh the page to load up the latest version or something.
No, I have not.
Nobody seen it?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Seen that, right? So that is coming from this kind of a proxy response, basically. You can try to see that in Google Images. I just close the post panel. It eats up a lot of RAM. Images. You are seeing a cached version of the page. I'll just search for this. Let me see if I can find anything. Yeah. Cached. Look at this. In a phone, it will be. See, look at this. This is a very old version. So this is a Google cache of this thing. Okay. This was cached at this point of date and time. See. So when you went to this website, they showed you the cached version of this point of date and time. Then if you refresh this thing, it will show you the current page, etc. So this is basically what happens. Look here, this is a very old version of Google Chrome. I mean, nowadays obviously it does not look like this. Oh, this is very see, like this is the cached pages and stuffs. See, cached pages you were getting. You can see the URL. It is coming from webcache.googleusercontent.com. So that means it is their own caching proxy server. Definitely, this is not the original server. Google is way, you can say, clever. They will definitely not express that that thing in front of everybody. But this is what it is. So when you got this thing, it is actually putting a search query on this server. Instead of google.com, it is searching on the webcache.googleusercontent.com. And from there, it is pulling from the cache. And then the URL is coming. See, www.surroundtable.com, which is this one. Got it. So this is how caching works. Okay. So a lot of things are there. If you want to learn everything, that will be huge. But yeah, these are very interesting things. If you can understand. See, this very old version of Chrome. You can see things like this over there. Chrome or some other browser, I don't know. Okay. Anyways, so these are kind of things that we can use to kind of get our job done in a much faster way. So this is a pretty cool thing. See, look there, cache key and origin request. Okay, this is the caching that is going on over there. It is cache optimized. Okay, caching you can disable completely. See, amplify origin, that basically means that you are trying to take the original data that is present. Who is making this noise? Please don't make noise. It basically means you are taking the data. Don't make the noise, please. What I was telling? So amplify origin. So you are taking the data from the origin server. Origin server means these ones. That what is that picture here? Taking the data from this origin server, and then you're amplifying basically means what you are doing, instead of sending it to one cache, you are seeing something called the locality of reference. Locality of reference. That means that which is the place from where this thing has been, let's say, requested, queried for. You just amplify it. That means you send it to the nearby places also. Like, let us say, if a lot of people from Mumbai is requesting for India versus South Africa match, let's say there is a match going on, and then a lot of people from Calcutta is doing the same, a lot of them Bangalore doing the same, Punjab doing the same, then there is a chance people from, let's say, in between Mumbai and Bangalore, what do you have? Hyderabad. People from Hyderabad will also look for it. That's a locality of reference. So they understood that there it is being, or queried over here, queried over here. If there is a mirror over here, then you can amplify. Amplify means you're just increasing the number of these things you're keeping. Keep it over here as well. That's called locality of reference. Means if in one area it is important, in another area it is important, maybe in the surrounding area also it will become important. So they will try to figure that out. There are a lot of algorithms they will use behind the scenes to do that thing. We as an architect, we never decide those algorithms. We just say that this is what you want, and it is then AWS's job to find it out. It is more like people who do, let's say, advertising, agency. Like, you tell the television channel that I want to advertise this thing. This is my product. I want to advertise in the television for, let's say, the I want to target the kids. The people under 10 years of age. Maybe you have a some chips or something you have made, those chips packet you want to show, or chocolate or something, those people I want to show. So then they will make sure they run those particular things during the time when kids are mostly available in front of the TV, in the afternoon time, maybe the cartoon channels, etc. So that's how the process works. Okay, so the system will automatically identify that what is the best place to place it, and they'll place it there. Similarly, here also the CDN will automatically identify it, and then they will place the items in those locations. Okay, enough talk about CDN. Let's move on. You can probably take a picture of this. It is getting recorded anyway. Okay, now I'll talk about a service called CloudWatch. CloudWatch is all about watching the cloud, or you can say monitoring the things. Now, how it works is like, let us say, for example, I have an instance I want to monitor. Now, there are only very few metrics that you can monitor. You cannot monitor like RAM usage
Even
and
2 days back, I think we were seeing the same screen, right?
correct. Yes, you were. RAM usage and all those things that you cannot monitor from here. But some things are there that you can monitor, like bandwidth. You can monitor. You can monitor the like when we did the RDS, you remember, like connections we are monitoring, right? So those kind of things you can monitor from here. Now, CloudWatch, even though this page exists, but you can actually find it integrated here only. If you just come to monitoring, let us say this machine is dead already. But if you just come up over here, there we go. So CloudWatch is kind of a module that is kind of included everywhere. You don't need to like specifically go to the console and check it out. In fact, it is easier to check it in these places. So here only you can see, let's say CPU utilization. Obviously, this machine died very soon, so it could not capture a lot of points. But it captured 1 point over here at 11 point something. You can just click on this icon. It will make it full screen. So here it has captured, you can see. Okay, you can see the date and time coming below over here at what point of time. It is giving you the UTC time 1350, basically means whatever, I mean add 530 with it. So that point of time it took this data, and that data was basically 11.8%. This is calculated in percentage, you can see. So then you can actually change this, like you want to see every 5 minutes of data, 1 minute of data, 30 seconds of data. Now, if you go anything below 5 minutes, that will become paid, and 5 minutes and more will become free. Always remember this, okay? So if you are seeing, let's say last 1 year of data, so probably you want to see like monthly, 30 days, how monthly it was, you know, monthly growth. Like the way you do in stock market, na mutual funds, correct?
Even
Like
I was
you want
about
to,
to tell the same thing.
and I want to tell the same thing. See, and now I am
Yes.
able to read your mind. Okay, then let's say 7 days, whichever way. And then you have like different countings going on over here. I don't understand all of them. Average, minimum, maximum, very rarely we use. Average is the most one that you will generally need for your decision makings. Okay, sometimes you might need the maximum to find out the the points when it is hitting the upper limit, the threshold, kind of that. Minimum, I never seen anybody using it. Okay, and this is percentile, P99. I do not know what these are. P99 is percentile. It is not 99 percentile. It is just percentile. It is written like that, P99. So in the percentile, what happens is basically you'll be able to see like in reference to something else. You know how percentile is calculated, right? Whatever is the highest point, that will be considered 100. Then in reference to that, like if you normally see, let's say this is like 11%, but let us say there are 2 points. One is 11% and one is, let's say, 5.5%. In a percentile count, this 11 point will now be considered as 100, and 5.5 will be basically 50% of it. So that's how percentile comes into picture. So if you run a server for a pretty long period of time, you can be able to see these monitors over here, like, okay, how this is going on, that is going on. These are just visual representations. They are not going to you can say functionally they are not going to help you out too much, but visual representation, so that kind of is good for studying the server behaviors and stuff. Like when you say that, okay, how do I know how many servers I will need? So you know that by studying the server monitors. Like you will see the, okay, let's say you're going to a project, okay, nobody in the day one will tell you that, okay, how many servers do you need, Anuj? Nobody's going to ask you. No, first monitor, see the last 1 year of trend, how it has gone. You yourself will have the idea that what is the average CPU utilization typically it maintains. Just look at the graph, you'll find out what is the kind of average number. So you know that, okay, that is the number that we have to maintain. So then when you're creating your auto scaling groups, you can actually specify over there that much percentage. So when I create auto scaling group, right? So that is like, okay, how am I writing this much bandwidth? I'm writing this much bandwidth because I have an idea about this, how network bandwidth works. Okay. So that idea will be building up from here. Now think about this. These things I never told you that point of time, because then you wouldn't have been able to understand this. Now you're understanding. Right. So when you have known all the things, now everything will make sense. So by reading these graphs, you will have an idea what it is going to be like. So when you're designing your auto scaling groups, it will become foolproof. Otherwise, it will just become like those engineers who tried to design the auto scaling group for Flipkart back in 2012 during the big billion, and it crashed out altogether. Flipkart was running on AWS at that point of time. Later, they created their own private cloud, but right now they were on AWS at that point of time. Why did it fail? Because it was a very poor, you can say, understanding of the traffic, and that's obvious because it was the very first time big billion day was happening. 2012, the first big billion day. I remember that. I remember that in the sense I was not aware of the AWS services that point of time. I was just a mere developer at that point of time. But I remember that activity happening, and later, in my life, I figured out, okay, that was that problem. So that is what that is, right? And the best part is that when you hover over here, you can see the same, you're getting the same kind of line running everywhere. So you can, at the same point of time, you can kind of figure out at this network what was the CPU. You can just compare like this. This network, you can see it's almost coinciding the points. So you can just check, okay, this was this much, this was this much, etc. So it's a very nice place to see the things. Acha. Here you have something called manage detailed monitoring. That is the thing when you go to less than 5 minutes kind of a thing. Okay. So the moment you try to switch it on, it will tell you that it is going to be chargeable, etc. You'll get a 1 minute kind of this thing. Additional charges apply. So from here, you can enable this thing. And after you enable that, then if you come back and you open up a monitor, you will find out it is now reading the data. Like right now, it was reading for every 5 minutes, right? If you do that, and then if you come back, you'll find out it will start reading for every 1 minute. And then you can go even lesser than that. So right now, let's say if there are like 10 points taken every 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes. If you go to 1 minute, the graph will be broken because it does not have 1 minute enough data. It has the data at, let's say, 12 o'clock, then 12:05, then 12:10. So if you say I want to see the data at 12:02, it doesn't have a data at that point of time. So graph will be broken. So if you want to really go below this, you need to first make sure you switch on the detailed monitoring from over here. You can just see these graphs, as I told you, they are functionally not going to add anything, but just good things to look at. You can surely do that. Okay, there are 14 graphs over here altogether. I think so. 4 4 4 2, yeah, that's correct. There are 14 graphs altogether over here, but the point is that in if someone is a very advanced monitoring engineer, they will be able to like generate conjugate graphs also, but that can be only done over here. Okay, you can create conjugate graphs, etc. Like you can go to, let's say, metrics. You can go to alarms. Through alarms you create a graph. You go like, where is it, create alarm. You go up over here, you select a metric. Here you select, let's say, conjugate metrics, means let's say you come to see there are 1148 metrics altogether showing up, 1046 metrics, let's say. So for example, let's say these two things you want to take together. Okay, so like that, CPU and network. Now CPU and network is not going to work out. Okay, it's a select a single metric to continue. That is because you are trying to create an alarm over here. Alarm doesn't work with two metrics. But look at the graph over here. It is now, this is what I was trying to show you. This has now made the blue colored dot for CPU, orange color for network. There is no data because the server is probably dead, what we are checking for. But this is how now the graphs will come with both the data together. A blue graph will come for the CPU and an orange graph will come for the network. That's how you can create conjugate graphs. If you want to save that conjugate graph, then you need to create a dashboard over here. Here, you need to create a dashboard. Like you can see already there is a dashboard over here. If you come up to this dashboard, you can add an widget. And here you can see you want to create this kind of a graph, line graph or pie chart or whatever kind of graph. Okay. And then you go to next. Then you need to select the metrics, go to configure, and here you can choose like multiple metrics together. Let's say whatever you chose that point of time. Okay, so let's say these two things. Okay, now you can see we're getting the create widget option. That means it will be able to create a graph with combined, you can say, metrics. These are very advanced things, but I'm just showing you it is possible to create that. There is no data as of now, but then this graph will have like 2-3 different lines going on, combination. That is not possible to be created here. That you can only create over here. And you need to save the dashboard and it will just be saved. As simple as that. So now whenever you come to this dashboard, you're going to find out that will be there. You can see this, know what's going on. You can expand it full screen. You can check it out. Again, 5 minutes, 1 minute, 1 second, whatever time you need, what you did over here. So this is the idea of CloudWatch. You're just watching the cloud and trying to figure out that, okay, let me monitor what's going on. Okay. So monitoring engineering is kind of a separate thing altogether. But yeah, when you start as an architect, they will generally put you in monitoring. You'll kind of understand, okay, let me see what is, like I told you, how do you decide how much auto scaling you need or how much percentage you need from the idea over here? You cannot simply say, oh, my servers behave the best at 70%. Who told you that? How do you know that? You cannot simply throw around it is looking like a fact. A fact has to be backed up by logic. You cannot simply say. So that is where these monitors will come into be. So the running servers you have, you'll get a read-only access using IAM policy. Someone will create a read-only access for you. You come up over there, just select the server. If there are multiple servers, if you select them, right now I have one, then you'll see then different colors they will make for different servers over here. Okay, like this server has this color, that color. Still, you will be able to see a conjugate graph, but that will be conjugate for servers, not like the dashboard. Here we can make it for one server. We can take multiple parameters. We can make a combined graph over there. That is not possible, but you can take multiple servers and see the graphs together into one place. Like a blue line is going for server one, green line for another server, red line for another server, etc. That will come up. I don't know if you can change the color. Maybe you can. Is there a way? No, I don't think you can. Okay. Anyways, there we go. All right. Fine. One last discussion I will do, and we shall wind up for the day. That is the Lambda. Okay. What happens in Lambda? Lambda is a pretty much development thing. It has got nothing to do with really with these our stuffs, but important to know Lambda. What happens over here? A Lambda is basically called a what is the term? Computing? No, computeless, serverless computing.
Serverless computing.
Lambda is called a serverless computing. So why is it called serverless computing? That is the part that we have to understand. So when we are working with a server, let's say an EC2 instance, you can basically deploy an application to an EC2 instance, and then I mean you can do a lot of things with an EC2 instance. I'm talking about the application deployment part. Let's say you have deployed an application to an EC2 instance. So what happens? The application would be running over there. It's a Tomcat server running, keeping on going. If someone is hitting the website, let's say I've hosted a web server, someone is hitting the website, then your web server is working, otherwise it is sitting idle, but it is charging you the entire time the server is running, right? I mean, I'm expecting that you understand that in production we do not run T2 micro. So that is being charged. You're being charged the entire time the server is running. Now, your primary application server or web server, database servers, they have to run always. I mean, that is like a necessary evil. You know that you are not using, not every single point of time someone is coming to your website, but you need to make sure that you are running the website for sure. So that is something that you cannot avoid. But think about certain critical operations, not critical operations. Sorry, I mean to say certain quick operations. Okay. Sorry.
Non-critical type.
Certain quick operations, very quick operations that are not very critical, but you still want them to be there, but you don't want to provision a new server for it. Like, let us think about the OTP sending. Okay, the OTP mechanism that you find out. Now, OTP uses a lot of other services also, not only Lambda, but think about the application that is generating the OTP and sending it. When you click on like, I want to log in somewhere, you click the OTP, you can again request for the OTP after 1 minute, right? There is a countdown timer going on, or 30 seconds, 30, 29, 28. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. The OTP doesn't come, sometimes it comes. So that application that is handling the OTP, that is not a part of the main application, because the main application is supposed to see the authorization and then allow you to enter in there and then do some job, etc. But the OTP part, instead of provisioning a different server for it, you just put it on Lambda. So your developer has to make sure that they are writing the code in one of the supported languages that are supported on Lambda. So Lambda, how to find that out? Just go to create function, and you will find out what all languages are supported. These are the languages: Node, Java, etc. stuff. Now the point is that when you deploy an application, let's say to Lambda, deploying an application is literally copying and pasting the code. That's all you need to do. So your developer has to write the code, you have to copy and paste it there, and just click on a button called deploy. It will be done. The point is that even though it is called serverless computing, it is impossible to have serverless computing. Okay, it is like virtualization. People talk about everything is virtual. It is impossible to have everything virtual. You need the real thing somewhere. Same thing. It is impossible to have serverless computing. What actually happens is like this, that it will be actually occupying a server the moment the code has to run. When someone is trying to click on forgot password and it has to send an OTP, that point of time, it will dynamically provision a server. It will run the code. The job will be over. It will leave the server. That will be a very small server. Generally, the server it takes up will have at most 64 megabytes of RAM. 64 megabytes of RAM, at not at most, at least 64 megabytes of RAM At most it can keep on going higher. But generally, if you are setting up a OTP server or something, it will probably give you maximum 128 MB of RAM. That's it, 128 MB. You don't need a 1 GB RAM server for sending an OTP. That's a very small part. So, and momentarily when it occupies the server, it does the job, runs the process, whatever program you have written, and leaves the server again. So this much period of time, how much ever period that is typically in milliseconds, 2 millisecond, 10 millisecond, whatever the amount of time the code takes to run. Okay. That's why people tell that you need to make a good algorithm if you're trying to write a good code so that it can execute it in the minimum number of time, because you can see the time is directly associated with the bill. The bill will be generated depending on the time that particular application is taking to run. If there is a let's say when it is trying to provision the server for running the application, okay, the server is obviously taken from the same repository from where they provision your EC2 instances. It is the same computing power they are using. They are just not called the EC2 instance. That's the only difference. So when they are trying to provision the server, that provisioning time, whatever it takes, that will not be built. Also, once the code running is over and it is going to delete the resource, whatever time it takes, that will not be built. It will only be built for the time it is gonna run the code. Got it. So obviously I'm not a developer anymore, but let us say if I'll just show you how it looks like. Go to create function, a Node.js something I took that I have no idea how to write, but let us say. It's taking so much time. Okay, it's done. So now here your code has to be put. Okay, you can see like whichever way like the code is written, that has to be put over here. Once you put a code over here, like anything, like if I even change something over here, let's say hello 1 2 3 something like that. The moment you do something, you will find out the deploy button will be appearing, like changes are there that is not deployed. Just click on this, deployed, as simple as that. Done. Now you can add a trigger like when this code has to be executed. So you can have a specific function that is being called, etc. But let's see if I keep it simple. I just say that okay, I need to take an S3 bucket, and do I have an S3 bucket available? There is a bucket called ktest.test.in Kubernetes. Anyways, let us say I'm taking this particular bucket and I'm telling that anytime an object is created, a new object is created in this bucket. Okay, I'll acknowledge. Just telling that it's going to charge me, etc. So I'll acknowledge this. So at any point of time, there is an object created onto this bucket. I want this Lambda function to run. I don't know what it will do. I literally have no idea what hello 1 2 3 I did, but something will happen and I want that to happen. So this we can do. Now in the destination, you can set up, let's say, an SNS topic if you want to, like sending the notification email. If you remember, I showed you.
Yes.
So you can add this thing if you have a topic, but I'm just not adding anything. I'm just leaving it. Forget about notification. Let's just see if it is being called or not. So once it is there, so now if you go to that S3 bucket that we told, okay, where is that? Search for S3. And if I just try to, let's say, upload any object over there, hopefully it is not prevented or something, because that's an automated bucket coming from Kubernetes. But let me just try to do this thing. Okay, there is no objects. Very good. Let me try to upload something. Let's see if it is calling that function. Now that function does not send an OTP, obviously, because I literally just wrote hello 1 2 3 something. But at least that much should happen, whatever it is. There is a file called test over here, which I have no idea what it does. Is it working? Drag and drop. Now it is working. Okay. Now uploading a file over here. I did it. Okay. Come to your CloudWatch. Here you should be able to see this. Go to your logs. In the logs, it will appear. If at all it appeared. Okay, there we are. Lambda test. That is our Lambda function. You can see test. So if you go here, you should be able to see that. There we go. Just come up. Okay. 2020 38. Right now it is 2021. So just now this time went. If you go there, you should be able to see how much. See, this is definitely the one. Okay. See, 128 MB of RAM. I told you, na. The max memory it was allocated was 128 MB. You have been built for 6 milliseconds because it took 5.72 milliseconds. So built for 6 milliseconds. And that's it basically. If you just open it up, you'll get to see how much memory has been used. 56 MB has been used out of the 128 MB that was allocated to you. And it took 155 milliseconds to initialize. That means the server provisioning job took 155 milliseconds. The code running took 5.7 milliseconds. Request ID or something. I do not see that hello 123 something that I wrote. I don't think that will appear here. I mean that is ideally supposed to do something, but I literally just told it to do hello 123. So that's not going to work out. But the main idea is that it came up. You can also see, just like I told you, everything you can do from other. You never need to go to CloudWatch. So your metrics are available here also. You can check it. Look at this. There has been one hit is showing up. Okay, here. One hit has been there. That's the 5.72 milliseconds here. You can see the graph. Okay, it was successful, so there is no error. It is like here, 100. Okay, no throttling, nothing, no filtering, no failures, nothing. There we are. You can also open up the log from here. The log is not showing up. Why it is not showing up? Anyways, the log is not showing up for some reason over here so far. But in CloudWatch it is coming. And if you want to see back the code, this is where the code was, where I just wrote something. I don't even know where it is going, where it is supposed to go. I mean, you need to know this language to be able to write it down, definitely. No idea about it. But the point is, there we are. It's working. Okay. All right. I'll just delete this function. So the idea of Lambda is to keep some non-critical small functions that you want to quickly execute, and you do not want to burn your in the like when will click on forgot password the entire month, nobody clicked on it. You are running your server. Doesn't make sense. Just let it be there. By the way, you need to come to your bucket properties and remove that thing from here that we added now. Like if that bucket is coming, then I need to there event notification Lambda test. This function no longer exists, but the event is still there. We need to kind of delete it from here. Okay. You need to delete it from here. Otherwise, it will just stay unnecessarily. Okay. Got it, guys? Hello, understood?
Yeah, somehow.
Somehow. Okay, there was a confident, yeah, I liked it. Who was that? Priyanka.
Yeah, I've
There
used
are a
this
couple of
Lambda for
people, huh?
before.
You've used it? See, there is already somebody who knows more than a Lambda about me. Tell me what you used it for. Let me also hear.
I used it long back, and I used it to as soon as images are added to S3, they should be copied to next bucket, which should be the minimized version. Long images should be like that thing I did.
Got it. Got it. Larger images, you are just squashing them, right? Smaller images you are creating out of it.
Yeah, smaller images. Yeah.
Cool, cool, cool. That means you are acting using one S3 bucket as a source, another as a destination. In between there is the Lambda, right?
Yes. Yes. So we were serving from the destination because there was a versioning of images, and the main source was we were putting
Correct.
that. That was the main thing.
Correct. There are a couple of people over here who I have never heard the voice of. As of now, there is only one, Ruman. I never heard the voice of Ruman. Ruman, can you speak up? I'm simply requesting. No, you won't? No problem. Okay, fine. So now, tomorrow, I will talk about, hang on a sec. So tomorrow I will talk about the projects that you have to work on. Okay, but as I told you yesterday, first build yourself up, okay? Then go for the projects. Probably your DevOps batch is going to come to me. Yesterday, kind of today morning I queried about it. It's probably gonna come to me, starting in a couple of weeks probably. So just prepare yourself on AWS till that point of time. And then let us see. I'll explain the projects tomorrow. So you can, once you're ready with them, you can start working on them. They are pretty much critical. I mean, critical in the sense you must do them. Okay. That's definitely an important thing from the importance perspective also. And otherwise also, like, there is a count that goes on for us, like the person who is handling the batch, like how many students have submitted back these things, projects, etc. There is a kind of a pointer that is given to us according to that. So, and that will help me to charge them more for the upcoming batches. Okay, I told this thing on record, I shouldn't have. I'm so sorry. But anyways, that is how it is like. So submit that as well. And your certificates will be released after that and all those things. Okay, so tomorrow I will explain you that thing, and you will also have a, ask me some questions if you have tomorrow in the session. And then we don't have anything new to learn tomorrow, but the questions I will take, I'll explain you the project. Project is the most important part because immediately you might not have any questions. Probably you'll have that a little later once you have practiced a lot of things. But this is the most important part. And yes, in order to do the once you do the projects, a lot of even let's say if you still have some doubts and stuffs, that will become clarified automatically once you start working on the project. So that's absolutely something that you should work on, whether you submit it back or not, but you should work on it at least. Very important. So yeah, that's it basically. Okay. We'll wind up for the day. We'll meet up tomorrow and talk about the projects.
And what about the interview question and all those things?
That will be given to you from Tech Stories. They will provide you that. Interview questions, some materials, some resumes, sample resumes, these things they will provide to you. Okay.
So those things will be provided to us after the DevOps class or like now only?
That I don't know. That you have to check with your, whoever the person is. That will be kind of like under their jurisdiction. I am in no position to, even know that. You can talk
So
to
we have
them
to
and figure
contact
out.
Ashwin or somebody else.
Yeah, Ashwin will be a good person. Just ask him that when you might get it. Just inform them that the class got over. So DevOps is gonna start. So now and also, just ask him that on the DevOps dates, he will inform you about that. In the LMS also, you will be automatically getting added to that. But still, good idea to ask him once. And then yeah, just figure out when they're sharing the things. I mean, I don't know. That can be at the end also, now also. Just or otherwise, you just tell now that okay, this is over. At least this one you can give to us, and the DevOps one we shall take later. Something that also you can talk. I don't
One
know, man.
thing,
I mean, that is.
suppose somebody is going to attend the interview on the basis of this AWS Solution course. Right now, whatever whatever the things you have CloudFront and CloudFormation and all those things, AWS Lambda, these things will be the part of interview.
This may be, but not the major part. A little bit of maybe one or two questions might come up from here. The major part is going to be from EC2, always, all AWS interviews. Okay. Got it? Where did you go?
Yesterday, you will help me to install this that Linux.
What? Linux?
Yes. The what we are trying to install in the beginning of the batch session.
Mobile Extreme, that one.
Yes. Which I was not able to.
Sure, I can do that for you. No problem. The others can leave the meeting.